Shabbat Shalom and Chag Purim Sameach. This is Shabbat Tzav, but we are celebrating Purim today. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about not only Purim, but some very important issues. In the 1950s, which probably most of you don't remember, in the aftermath of the Shoah, the Holocaust, an important novel was written by an American non-Jew, Sinclair Lewis. It was written at that time and with this title, It Can't Happen Here. Well, the author put forward the idea that what happened in Nazi Germany and throughout Europe could in fact happen in a democratic country like the UK or the United States. What Mr. Lewis failed to relate, or perhaps to fully appreciate or comprehend, is that what happened in 20th century Europe was only the most recent in a series of diabolical attempts by Hasatan and his instruments to destroy the Jewish people. Melech Shlomo, renowned king of Israel, declared, "There is nothing new under the sun." The idea of genocide against the nation and people of Israel was not new with Adolf Hitler, nor those who provided him with his ideas. Thousands of years earlier, a man named Haman had the same idea about destroying the Jewish people, motivated by the same kind of demonic hatred for God's covenant people, Israel. The real enemy of Israel is the arch enemy of God himself, and he has tried everything, including assimilation and genocide. At the time of Hadassah and Mordecai, our people were dispersed over 127 provinces and lands. Our own land and the city of Jerusalem were still in ruins, although a handful of our people had returned and rebuilding had begun. Jews undoubtedly differed from one another in custom and dress and tongue according to the place of their dispersal. Although we always maintained Hebrew, it was usually only used within the synagogue for religious purposes. Elsewhere, we spoke a variety of languages, including Yiddish and Ladino. In fact, Jews differed at that time very much in the way Jews have differed before and up to the restoration of the State of Israel. As in the UK today, there were many Jews who concealed their Jewishness or who had become so assimilated into the pagan surrounding culture that they didn't even know they were Jews. But our enemy recognized the essential quality which made us into one people. Their laws are different from those of any other people. I quote from the book of Esther. But our enemy recognized the essential quality. Yes, and he was absolutely right. Following Torah always sets us apart. In his wicked desire to annihilate Mordecai the Jew, Haman wanted to destroy all the Jews, young and old, children and women. Some Jews at his time did adhere to the Torah and mitzvot. They sought to follow God, but some Jews had only weak spiritual ties with our people, as was the case in Nazi Germany. None, however, could escape the classification of belonging to that one people, and every one of us were included in Haman's plan, just as Hitler included those who had even one Jewish grandparent. And of course, that would have been true. The expulsion from Spain, the pogroms in Russia and Poland, Lithuania and other places, including the Ukraine. There have been other times in other nations in places like Persia, Spain, Poland, Germany, the Ukraine, Turkey, and Russia. Jews were welcomed and made to feel comfortable. And then, well, among these nations, Jews were sometimes asked to give up a bit of their uniqueness in order to fit into the surrounding society. As Jews relaxed, they abandoned more and more of the distinctive that Hashem had given us: Torah commandments, holy day celebrations, Shabbat, circumcision of our sons, praying together, teaching our children what it meant to be part of Israel. And just when they believed they had finally achieved complete acceptance in their host nation, the hatchet fell. What came next was totally unexpected. Jews were hounded and delegitimized. They were forced to convert to the prevailing religion, forced to change and become something other than what they were, Jews. Yes, in all ages, and here I speak as a historian, and all places, there have been those like Haman who serve our enemy, Hasatan. But we have outlived them, thanks to the power of our God and his ongoing eternal plan for our people. Yes, we have survived while our enemies have been destroyed. Nothing has changed, really, since the days of Hadassah and Mordecai. The enemy of Israel is as active as ever. In fact, in our world today, he is in the ascendancy. He is powerful and enjoying his power because he knows that one day soon it will end, when Mashiach Yeshua returns to defend our people. Neither he nor his goals have changed in all those years and centuries. He wants nothing less than the destruction of the nation and people of Israel. He uses governments and individuals, the religious and the non-religious, for his evil work, and he continues to seek to discredit Israel by declaring Israel intransigent, cruel, lawless, just as Haman did. His ultimate aim is that God's program for the world, his glory, his honor, the day when every knee will bow and every tongue will proclaim that he is sovereign. Hasatan hopes that that day will never come, although of course he knows it will. So what is the secret of our survival? There are principles in God's universe. Imagine a scientist seeking to understand the laws governing a certain phenomena, or to discover the essential properties of a particular element. She or he must undertake various experiments under different conditions in order to discover those properties or laws and how they operate under all conditions. No true scientific law can be deduced from a minimum number of experiments or from experiments under similar or slightly varied conditions. Then the results would be inconclusive. Consider evolution or the Big Bang Theory. both of which are unrepeatable. No clinical trials are possible, and there's no way of proving them. The same principle might be applied to our people. We are one of the oldest people groups in the world that still exist. Beginning our national history from the revelation at Mount Sinai 4,000 years ago, and our formative history even earlier with Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. In the course of these many centuries, our people have lived under extremely varied conditions in different times and different places, spread out literally all over the world. If we are to discover the essential elements of the cause, the very basis of the existence of our people and our unique strength, we must conclude it is not peculiar physical or intrinsic mental characteristics. It's not language or customs that make us unique. The essential element which has united our dispersed and scattered people and made us one people throughout our dispersion and regardless of times is the Torah and the unique Jewish way of life which Hashem implanted within us. This has remained basically the same throughout the ages and in all the places of our dispersion. It is the Torah and the commandments of God which have made our people indestructible in the face of massacres and pogroms aiming at our physical destruction, and in the face of ideological onslaughts of foreign cultures aiming at our spiritual destruction. It is Hashem who has kept Israel. Hine lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. He who keeps Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Purim teaches us an age-old lesson which has been verified even more recently in the Shoah and in Israel's survival as a nation. No form of assimilationism, despite all of Moses Mendelssohn's careful philosophy and that of his followers, that assimilation, becoming like everyone else, would end persecution. Not even that which extended over several generations provides an escape from the Hamans and the Hitlers. Nor can any Jew sever his ties with his people by attempting such an escape, although many have tried at various times in our history. Our existence does not depend upon us. It depends solely upon God and the fact that our laws are different from those of any other people. We are a peculiar people unto God. Our God, the God of the Scriptures, is different from the gods of any and all other people. This is what learned atheists like Dr. Arnold Toynbee have failed to understand when they call Israel a fossil nation, one that should have died a long time ago. As we celebrate Purim, we are reminded that the strength of our people as a whole and of each individual Jew, including always our converts from among the Goyim, lies in commitment to our God, the Holy One of Israel, and his ways. And that means that obedience to God must come first in our lives. Obedience to his commandments, to his plan for redemption and reconciliation, and to his program for our future. Our spiritual heritage contains the secret of a harmonious life here and now, and a glorious future in the Olam Haba, the world to come. A secret we should be pleased to share with anyone who inquires. Every aspect of our spiritual and temporal life must be free from contradiction. This is the basis and essence of our existence, our covenant relationship with the one and only God, the God of Israel. We must be in tune with Him in order to make our lives and our community harmonious and filled with joy and peace. Our national and spiritual strength has always depended upon our ultimate reliance upon God and our commitment in obedience to His commandments. That is the secret of Jewish survival. And so God continues to defend and support His Jewish people according to His promises made to our fathers and mothers and to us. He who keeps Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. He who touches Israel touches the apple of His eye. No weapon formed against them shall prosper. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. But we must recognize that Hasatan does not merely want the physical destruction of our people. He also wants us to be separated from God. He wants to keep our people in the UK and around the world from following God's commandments and becoming fully reconciled to God through Mashiach Yeshua. He is hoping for and working toward a spiritual Shoah, one that can happen right here. Hashem has a role for us to play, and He is bringing His people back, not only physically but spiritually. As we look toward the end of days and the culmination of all things, what can we do? We can do what Hadassah and Mordecai did. We can pray on behalf of our people. We can be fearless and say what we know is true, taking a stand for Israel in our workplace, with friends, even with family and neighbors. We can live a life that draws positive attention to Hashem, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. For such a time as this, God has brought us into His kingdom. It is our privilege as well as our obligation to stand with Israel and for our God. Go through the gates, clear the way for the people, build up the highway, remove the stones, lift up a standard. Behold, Adonai has proclaimed, say to the daughter of Zion, behold, your salvation comes. His reward is with Him, and His recompense before Him. And they will call them the holy people, Am Kadosh, the redeemed of the Lord. And you will be called sought out, a city not forsaken. Purim is a wonderful time to remember once again God's relationship with His people and His protection over us. God bless you, and Chag Purim Sameach.